roll.
Okay. All right. Okay, the meeting has officially been called to order. We don't have a board president or a board vice president, so we are gonna recommend you guys nominate Mike as the president pro tem, so that way he can sign documents that he needs to on behalf of the district, the annual filing affidavit, that type of stuff that needs to be filed with the regulatory authorities in connection with the audit. You guys okay with that? Okay, we got a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. All right, first item on the agenda, public comments. Angela, how are you?
Hi, good. How are y'all?
Good, welcome. Anything
Thank
you'd
you.
like to address with the board?
Yes, I would like to, as y'all recall, I've previously requested a virtual option so that citizens can better be informed and better participate in the governance of the municipal utility district. The board has not wanted to do that. Sorry, adjusting this. And so I would like the board to please consider the pros and cons of making a meeting, moving the meetings into the district, like our neighbors in Green Trails have their meetings during the week in the evenings in the district in a home. They're represented by the same law firm, so it should be easy to figure out the logistics and how they do it and how we can do it. And this is my formal request to move the meeting into the district. And I can follow up if necessary with a request with 5 other signatures of residents in the district, which would then trigger the TCEQ to determine a meeting location, if that's necessary. So thank you.
Thanks, Angela. All right. Agenda item 2 is review and approve the minutes of the April 21st board meeting. Those went out last week when the agenda went out. We have not received any questions or comments prior to today's meeting. Board, if there are any, please let us know. If not, just need a motion to approve as written.
Motion.
All in favor? All right, agenda item 3 is review and approve the audit for your fiscal year ended January 31, 2025, and then authorize the execution of the annual filing affidavit in connection therewith. Jennifer with Fort Worth News Artist is here to present that.
Thank you, appreciate it. Good afternoon, Board. Jennifer Hanna. I don't come to your meetings, it's been a very long time. So I passed out copies of your audit if you would like to follow along. Same one that was emailed out previously. So if you flip past the cover page, it's the independent auditor's report, and this is a letter we include every year. It just gives our opinion on your financial statements, and it should be an unqualified opinion, which is a good, clean opinion, same as it has always been. So skipping ahead to page 7, that is where your financial statements begin. Page 7, this is going to be all of your assets. So as of January 31, 2025, in your general fund, you have total assets of $9,786,832. Majority of that is in your certificates of deposit and your short-term investments, which is your Texas class. In your water plant, you have a total of $826,736, and this is made up of your cash and your amounts due from your participants as of January 31. And then in your wastewater treatment plant, you have $286,930 in total assets, and again, this is made up of cash and amounts due from your participants year end, fiscal year end. In that adjustments column are your capital assets, and so you have land and improvements at the $911,430. Your construction in progress is at $584,835, and then you have infrastructure of $3,020,658, and that is net of accumulated depreciation as of January 31. Flipping over to page 8, this is going to be all your liabilities. In your 3 funds, you just have routine accounts payable balances, customer deposits, some retainage payable, and you have no any other liabilities, no long-term liabilities. Moving over to page 9, this is going to be your statement of activity. So these are all your revenues and expenditures for the current fiscal year. And in your general fund, first column, you have total revenues of $3,272,146. Your expenditures total to $3,436,525. you transferred funds over to both your water plant and wastewater treatment plant. And so after all that activity, you had a decrease of $629,211 to lower that fund balance to that $8,125,396. You have over 2 years of reserves, so that's a very healthy reserve. In your water plant, your wastewater treatment plant, you bill everything to participants. The increases in both of those funds are just due to the increase in your share of your of the reserve for each fund that you transferred over. Pages 10 through page 20, these are your notes to your financial statements. We did not add any new notes, so we have just updated these with your current year information, your current information on your investments, your capital asset additions, updated your notes relating to special revenue funds, anything else that needed to be updated. And so now I'll move on to page 21. 21 is your budget comparison for your general fund. And then as well, the next 2 pages are for each of your special revenue funds. These are all required disclosures in your audit. So on page 21 in your general fund, it looks like you amended your budget. So comparing your final amended budget to your actual, revenues in total came in higher, the $82,846 total difference. Your service to other districts, your investment income came in higher, but then your water service revenues came in lower than you had expected. And then for expenditures, they came in lower, totaled to $507,804. Your purchase services, which would have been your services you purchased from your plants, from your 2 plants, were higher than expected. But then your capital outlay costs that you budgeted were considerably lower than you had expected. And then again, you transferred those funds out, which you budgeted for those. And so overall, the $586,630 is what your ending fund balance ended higher than you expected it to end the year. The next page is your water plant. Again, you bill everything to your participants. The only change again is that increase in your reserve, but I'll just point out comparing your amended budget there to your actuals. They came in lower, your expenditures were lower, so your revenues were lower. It looks like most of that is just due to capital outlay costs that were budgeted and not as much incurred. Then flipping over to the wastewater treatment plant, again, same thing, but smaller difference to $56,771 from your expenditures as well as your revenues. Which looks like, again, a little bit of capital outlay lower than what you expected. And then starting on page 25 through page 33, or at the end of this report, these are schedules required to be included at CCQ. Just gives more information on your expenditures, your services and rates that you charge to your customers, your tax rate, and your taxable value information, as well as information on directors and the consultants. That's all I have on the audit report. You also have a management letter as well as an auditor's communication, required communication. Both of these have very similar comments and findings we've always given you in the past. We've not made any changes to that. That's all I have, unless I can answer questions on anything.
Board, do y'all have any questions or comments on the draft audit? Management letter or response?
The only question I have was on the 2 years reserves.
Yes.
Operating reserves, does that take into account the capital plan?
No, that's just based on normal expenditures, but you do have capital outlay costs in the current year. Oh wait, we do have, so you have budgeted, if you look over on page 8, in your fund balance, you'll see we have future expenditures. You have budgeted for all those capital outlay for next year, for fiscal year 2026, and so we reserved some of your funds over there. They're assigned to future expenditures, and a lot of that is your capital outlay that you budgeted for next year. So your unassigned, that $2 million is closer to what you really have for reserve for just general expenditures.
Okay.
Got one question on 7 on the balance sheet. Is the value of the capital assets, is that based on the initial acquisition, or is it adjusted some way?
Historical, it's all historical.
Historical,
Cost,
okay.
yeah. And we just adjusted for depreciation, for your infrastructure, yeah.
Okay. Well, as a reminder, this is the draft. Your audit is due the middle of June, so this is approval subject to any comments from your consultants as well as board members if you guys end up having questions or comments prior to that filing deadline. And then you will approve that management letter that they prepared along with and authorize the response to be included therein. That response is prepared by 4 pages. It's the same as y'all have done for prior years. Yes. All right, second.
All right.
All in favor?
All right.
very much. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Agenda item 4, bookkeeper's report.
All right, so everybody should have a copy of the May report. Flipping past the cover page, page 2 is your spotlight of the month. It focuses on your district stats, and then it gives you some stats for neighboring districts that are either bordering the district or near in proximity. And down below is your account balance. Page 3 is your monthly financial summary for your operating fund. And then on page 4, you'll see your cash flow activity since our last meeting for your checking account. Below the red line, there are 25 checks listed for your approval today, including the annual disclosure to Forvis Mazars, and then the unclaimed property that's being turned over to the Texas State Comptroller. I did add one check that is not on this list. It's check number 11990 to W Industries for payout number 4 and final for the generators that were completed. And so the amount was $18,824.20. Page 5, your cash flow report for your operator's account showing your March accounts receivables. Pages 6 through 9, your actual versus budget comparison reporting the month of March and your fiscal year to date of 2 months on the right 3 columns. Pages 10 and 11, your balance sheet as of March 31st. Then on page 12, you'll see your sewer treatment plant fund summary page, followed by your checking account activity. Below the red line, there are 7 checks listed for your approval today, nothing out of the ordinary here. Page 14 and 15, your actual versus budget comparison. On page 16, you'll see your joint water plant fund. And then following that is your checking account activity. Below the red line, there are 9 checks listed for your approval today. I did add one, check number 5335 to CFG Industries for a pay app that was received for $129,960. That was the GST recoding. Next 2 pages, your actual versus budget comparison. 20 and 21, your investment profile and your account balance page for all of your funds. The next 2 will be your cash flow forecast. And page 24 is your sales tax revenue history that we collected $9,391 for the month of January. I'm happy to answer any questions.
No questions, but I think it's significant to spotlight on the neighboring districts that you've included now. You know, our tax rate is the lowest of any of our neighbors.
Yeah.
And cost for 10,000 gallons is almost half of one of the adjacent,
District.
right, so I think that's significant. But anyway, I like that comparison.
Yeah, good point.
Do you have an extra report?
Yep,
Mine is it?
sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions on the bookkeeper's report? All right, if we can get a motion to approve the report, including those 2 checks discussed.
Motion?
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, agenda item 5, this is a carryover from last month. Board, y'all wanted to make sure all board members were willing and wanting to do direct deposit for per diems and expenses. David, I think you weren't here last month. The other 4 board members were on board, but they wanted to make sure everyone was on board before they approved
I was
it.
asked before the meeting and I agree.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we did go over both the resolution and the agreement, so 5 and 6 last month. If you guys are on board with that, just need a motion to approve that client services agreement with HR&D for that direct deposit, along with 6, which is that resolution authorizing that electronic transfer of director per diems, as well as expense reimbursements. All right, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, all right, agenda item 7, this is an annual item. It is approval of the unclaimed property reports as of March 1, 2025. And then authorizing your bookkeeper and tax assessor collector to file those reports with the state comptroller. So just as a reminder, this is any unclaimed property that is in the district's accounts that does not belong to the district. So water and sewer refunds, if somebody moves and you also send a check to somebody and they do not deposited that check, those funds are still in the district's accounts, but they don't belong to the district, same tax refunds. Every year you authorize your consultants to look at their accounts to see if there's any unclaimed property, and then your bookkeeper and tax assessor collector to prepare those reports for you. Wheeler has prepared that report, and they do not have any unclaimed property. So we have that. Municipal Accounts has also prepared that unclaimed property report. And you have $452.14 in unclaimed property that will be escheated to the state. That means your bookkeeper will send those monies directly to the state comptroller. So if anybody comes to find property, I guess their money, they go directly to the comptroller instead of coming to the district. You guys do this every year. Do you have any questions? Okay, just need a motion to approve those report and authorize those funds to be escheated to the state.
Motion.
Second, all in favor? All right, agenda item 8, taxes and collectors report.
All right, good afternoon, board. Going over April's numbers, we started off with $139,496.60. Taxes collected for the month, $10,202.51. After last month's disbursements, left the district at $146,945.49. This month's disbursements, $47,490.20, leaving your cash balance at $99,455.29. I brought 6 checks for your review and approval today. You've got some corrections going back to your taxpayers, and then you have one operating wire going. Following page is your historical. At the end of April, you were at 96.87% collected. As of today, you're at 96.95. All prior years are in the 99s and 100s. And then that final page is your calculation of cash, breakdown of your income and disbursements. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Is that amount that's in 2023, is that just something you write off at some point?
In 2023?
On the top of page 2, in the tax year 2023.
Amount outstanding? Is that where you're looking?
Mm-hmm.
No, that is still delinquent, so I think you have some deferrals in there. So when those people sell or pass away, the house transfers, those will get paid out.
Okay. We keep them active.
Mhm.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Isabella, it looks like the HOA is still on here. Do you have a chance to connect with them?
I sent them the statements and nothing.
All right, board, do you have any questions on the taxes and collectors report? All right, we get a motion to approve that report.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? All right, agenda item 9, delinquent tax report. We do not have a delinquent tax collection attorney's report for you all. As a reminder, those are presented quarterly. Agenda item 10, engineer's report. Bob?
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Sorry it's a little bit late. Just some updates. The plans for the wastewater treatment plant improvements, we're still working through those, submitting those to the agencies, going through rounds of comments. So we have not bid that yet. We're still waiting to get those finalized. Water plant improvements, phase 1, we did have progress payment number 1 in the amount of $129,960. So work is progressing out there with those guys. Water well number 2, we've been bouncing back and forth with Harris County on detention issues. Detention was provided back in the day. The report that was done was in 1998. We submitted that to them and said we're already covered. They came back, they wanted to see backup on plans. We could not find the plans. They made us go through a open records request with them so they could check the box. They couldn't find the plans either, but we've gone back to them now, and so we're hoping to wrap them up here in the next week or so. And we're getting submittals from the contractor, so it's not like we've been on a dead halt on anything. We've told them to go ahead and submit your shop drawings on long lead items. If there's equipment we need to order in advance of having the final approved plans, let us know. So he's still making progress. We had a pre-construction meeting with him last week, and he doesn't have any concern about mobilization. Once we get approval, he's ready to go. So it's we've been delayed a little bit by Harris County, but I don't think we've lost a ton of time. Like I said, he's kind of been checking some boxes and keeps moving forward. So as soon as we can get it, we know it's critical. Here we are, looking at 95 degrees in May and no rain for a couple of weeks. So we know the importance of the well. He knows the importance of the well. So we are doing our best to keep that ball moving. And that's really it. Mike, you'd asked about the GIS. We can hook that up maybe at the end of the meeting if you wanted me to pull that up on the computer. Or we have a GIS system. Mike had reached out a couple of meetings ago.
You pulled it up a little bit last
Oh, did you?
time.
Okay, okay, we already did, okay. So anyways, Mike had asked about it, and he and I both didn't realize. Kate tapped us on the shoulder and said, yeah, we already got that.
And
So.
y'all consensus to pull both of y'all around.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's a link, and so you can pull it up and you can look at things on your own. It's a public domain, I think, so just making sure everybody's aware of that.
So a couple of things, on the,
Sure.
this drainage detention, is that during the drilling of the well or after it's
So-
in place?
Because for Harris County to approve the plan, so we're showing impervious area going in, a driveway, concrete, whatever, and so they're saying you have to provide detention for that.
Okay.
And our argument was that's already been provided years ago, but it was just detailing that with them and for them to check the box. And like I said, it was stuff done back in the late 90s, so tough finding information on that, but it is because we're putting in more concrete.
I just wanna make sure it's drainage
Yep.
work.
Yep.
And then the other thing, you had a Gantt chart you were keeping up to date on this well, on where we are on that. I would love to still see that.
Yeah, and so what we'll do, and we actually at the pre-construction meeting, we didn't request it, but we will, we'll ask them for a contractor schedule. Is gonna be better than me guessing. They just need to, they're the ones that are gonna be doing it. So we will get a schedule from them, and I'll have that. And as soon as we get it, I'll send it out to you all in advance of the next meeting.
Alright, y'all have any other questions for Bob on the engineer's report? Okay. And the motion would be to approve pay estimate number 1, from CFG Industries in connection with the water plant improvement project phase 1 in the amount of $129,960.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Kate, I did bring contracts. Rhett's not here, but can we still get a signature?
Yes, we have Mike, he's president pro tem, so we
Okay.
can have him sign on
Okay.
behalf of the district for this. Mike is okay with that. I think we just voluntold you guys.
That's our contract.
He needs to read it off first.
He needs what?
He needs to read it off.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he'll love it.
Alright, so you guys already approved the contract at the last meeting, you awarded the contract to, WW Payton. It was just subject to SPH's review of the insurance provision and payment performance bonds, which I believe we have done. Okay, alright. Agenda item 11, operators report.
Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. We should all have a copy of the operator's report in front of us.
Do you have another one?
I don't know if I have any, actually.
Okay.
Here, you can
Let's,
Thank you.
share with my buddy here.
Starting there at the top, previous meeting action item status. Fire hydrant repairs, those are currently underway. Valve survey, that has not started quite yet, but it is scheduled for next month. Wastewater treatment plant repairs, that is all done except for the diffuser replacement, and I do have an update for you on that. We'll get to at the end of the report. Okay. Pump controller repair at the Station 2, that has been completed. Current items requiring board approval. We need to approve the delinquent process today. There are currently 47 accounts that remain unpaid. Letters were sent out on May 7th. Tags will be hung on the 21st, and then turnoffs are scheduled for May 28th. Also have our annual drinking water quality report, otherwise known as our consumer confidence report, that I will present to you after my executive summary. And I also have 2 quotes for the repainting of the fire hydrants in the district. Moving on to the compliance summary, water distribution. Monthly bacteriological samples were taken throughout the district. All came back compliant. There was no coliform or E. coli found. We didn't have any water supply through the 216 interconnect for the month. Metered and billed for 345 is roughly 18 million gallons. Metered and billed for 346 is roughly 4 million gallons. That brings our accountability to 81%, a bit lower this month. If you look a little bit lower down the report there, you see we had a few leaks that were repaired in the district, including one that was originally written up as a fire hydrant that was leaking, but it turned out to be a tap line. There was a tap line that was laid directly next to that fire hydrant. So got that one repaired. Well GPM is still sitting at 1,535 gallons per meter, per minute, excuse me. Wastewater treatment, we do have 3 excursions for TSS, which is total suspended solid, on April 2nd. So it's actually came from one sample. It was just 3 different parameters. It was the daily maximum, the daily average, and the 7-day average. So what happened there, the return, which is on the bottom of your clarifier, otherwise known as your settling tank, was blocked with rags. So that is what returns all the sludge from the settling tank. So because that was blocked, could no longer return the sludge, it began to build up in the clarifier, and that went into over the weirs and then into your sample. So the actual value, if you'd like to look at it, is the very back of your reports. 90.7 was the value. Okay. Yeah, moving on to our operations summary. Like I said, we had those 3 water leaks that were repaired in the district, including yard remediation. We also had 1 leaking blow-off valve that was replaced. Wastewater collection, as I said, we replaced that pump controller at lift station number 2. Then wastewater treatment plant, besides those repairs that we were doing that were approved last month, we also replaced 4 butterfly valves on the digester air lines, replaced a bad coupling on blower number 1, had a top and bottom clean of the on-site lift station after we discovered the rags there in the clarifier. And then turnbuckle fencing repaired the entrance gate. It was damaged by high winds and we actually could not open it. It's hanging. So that's a very heavy gate there at that sewer plant. So got that fixed. Then at your water plant, we repaired a leak on booster pump number 4 header. So it was actually the isolation valve that was leaking. It was just a gasket that we had to replace. Customer care, we had 29 delinquent letters that were sent out on April 3rd. 12 tags were hung for non-payment, and then we finally just had 1 disconnect. There were no accounts to consider for write-off or collections this month. Now, the update I have for you on your wastewater treatment plant, everything is done except for the diffusers themselves. They have those in. Once they're ready to replace them, it'll take them about 2 hours to get them all done. The issue is the weir box on the clarifier itself. It's made out of sheet metal, okay? That is extremely rusted. So this is a piece of equipment that people enter in order to clean the clarifier. So in the state that it's in right now, I won't let anyone walk into it. They will probably fall and hurt themselves. Just something that happens over time, sits in water all day long, rusts out. So besides the safety concerns, I could tell my guys not to enter the clarifier. The reason I bring this up is because it looks like this was an item that we had listed on the CIP for 2026, I believe.
What's the cost?
What's the cost? So we have 2 options. Replacing it would be roughly $50,000, but to do a patch repair job, it's going to be sheet metal tack welded on top of the holes and then epoxy placed over it to seal all the leaks. I don't have an actual quote because they just called me this morning, but they're asking for it not to exceed $18,000 on that. The only issue is I could put this back in service and tell my guys this is a safety hazard, don't climb into this. They can still do our job without entering it, but if this metal were to rust out and any sections were to fall, it could damage your equipment in the clarifier. It could damage the rake arm as it moves, it could get caught, or it could damage your return, clog it up, cause a blockage, which could lead to other issues.
So would the repair be quicker than the acquisition of a new one?
It would be quicker than replacing it. They could get it done in 3 to 4 days, and they are offering a 3-year warranty on it.
Have you seen that done before?
I have seen that done before, yes,
And
sir.
it worked well?
It works just fine.
How long would a repaired weir last versus a brand new one?
So they say 3 years on the warranty. I would reckon 5 to 10 years. It just depends on if we keep that unit in service or if we ever have to take it offline and then drain it for an extended period of time. So I think that's also a contributing factor to the deterioration of that weir box.
Draining accelerates it or decelerates it?
Accelerates it.
Accelerates
Yeah,
it.
I would say a cycle of being wet and then drained. Yeah, sun damage not helping at all.
Certainly, I hear in you a sense of urgency to go ahead and repair it, because if it fails, it could hurt other things.
That's correct. That's correct. There is a sense of urgency, and the main concern is if you want to wait to do this on the CIP, we can definitely do that. But I don't recommend putting this sewer treatment plant, that unit, online until it is done.
So we could do the repair and then adjust the CIP out another 5 to 8 years for the replacement.
Sure, if that's what you'd
is
like to
that-
do.
Is that kind of what I'm hearing? If we do the repair, then we defer the replacement?
That's correct. If we do the repair, then I would not opt to do the replacement in the next few years. I would definitely push that out. Yeah. Otherwise, I would say you were wasting some
Yeah, we
money.
could do it sooner than rather than later. For example, if we did it in 2025 and then replace it in 2028, the CIP expenditures go down significantly in 2028, 2029, so there's room to add more, right?
So nominally put it at the end of the 3-year window.
Maybe 4 at most or something like that. We could.
That seems good to me.
Is it the one you call replace clarifier mechanism? Is that?
Yeah, and I was looking at that as well because I
Buried
did
in
not
that
put
line?
that together. It's a little more specific than a mechanism, but yes, I'm thinking that is what that is allocated to, is that mechanism. Because I didn't have that document in front of me, Mike, but I did see somewhere else that there was
Yeah.
to replace that entire rear box.
The next line says patch any clarifier cracks.
Yeah, that would be in like that. I'm assuming the concrete things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we did this, Bob, you guys would adjust, you guys are in control of the CIP, right? You would bump that item to 2028. You wanna put it at the 3-year mark, guys, or? Yeah,
3 or 4.
3 or 4.
I would hope it lasts more than 3 years.
Yes.
this
Oh,
repair.
yeah, absolutely.
Something
They
like
warranty it
5.
for 3 years, but I would say 10 years at least.
What's the lead time on if we needed a new one at some point? Is it, how long do we think?
So less than a month. The parts are not the problem. It's just the labor and coordinating the logistics. They have to get 2 crane trucks out there in order to level it all out. So I want to say it's actually less than $20,000 for the material, but the actual labor of installing it is what drives the price up. It takes quite a bit of time to level it out and get it right.
It sounds like your need to replace it is visual inspection. You can look at it, you're seeing that it's wearing,
Yes.
holes in it, it's corroding, whatever. So if we put it out 4 years and we look at it and it still looks good, it's probably still good. right?
That's correct.
Okay. Seems good.
Is there a chance once you go to get in there and repair it, you're gonna find more damage than you think?
No, we've already cleaned it. We've looked at it top and bottom. That tank is empty, so there's no more damage. It's a thin piece of sheet metal. So
Okay.
we've inspected it fully at this point.
Geez, like 18 is plenty to cover it.
18.
We authorize up to that.
He told me 15, and the reason that he asked for not to exceed 18 is just because of some tariff rates on the epoxy itself. He's still waiting on some answer on that. He just received an email earlier this month, so that's why I don't actually have a quote either. So he's still waiting on finalizing that.
You got some contingency in there.
Mm-hmm.
Can we, just a thought, maybe approve not to exceed and with Mike's kind of review of that before we go forward, so we don't have to wait for the next board meeting to get this repaired?
And the repair itself, that unit is not online. Just wanted to know what you'd like to do before we move forward with the membrane replacement. We're not going to install those membranes right now if we're not going to put that unit online. That's the only issue. I don't want to put those membranes in there and they just rot and go to waste. That defeats the
Until you
purpose of
repair
what we
the
just
weir.
did.
You gotta repair the weir first and then get
Yes,
there. And then
because I wanna
and then
get-
Once we do that, we can bring it back online and put it
That's
in normal
correct.
rotation.
That's correct. I don't want to undo what we just did.
You talked earlier about having both online at the same time.
That's correct.
We're entering that phase? Not
Well,
the one at a time?
we want to get the second one online at least so we could take the first one down and see what we need to do with that one. But yes, that is the goal, to get them both online, yes, sir. But like I said, we can wait to put that online and just wanted to see what we'd like to do so we don't install those membranes before we're ready.
If we went forward with the repair, would you then recommend to go ahead and install the membranes?
Oh, yeah.
Finish that work and then put that one online so you could start looking at the other one?
Absolutely. If we make the repair to the rear box, we can do those membranes, and the membranes, that will be quicker than the repair to the rear box. Then get some water into that sewer plant, get it started right away. Won't take much time at all to get the other one drained and inspected.
What do y'all think?
Yeah, I'm okay with doing it. Yeah. Exceed 18, sure.
All right, anything else, Chad?
Yes, then I have our fire hydrant repainting quotes. So this is actually who repainted your fire hydrants about 6 years ago. They have two quotes here, so just two methods of pressure washing those, or sorry, painting those fire hydrants. The actual changing method is the cleaning of it first. So they have a skid-mounted wire brush system. It's pretty much a giant brush that comes down on top of the fire hydrant, takes it down to the bare metal, then they repaint it. That is $85 per hydrant. If you turn to the next page, it's just a standard using a pressure washer to strip that paint down and then paint it that way. The main difference, they may not get all of the paint off with the pressure washer, but they're going to take down the flaking paint and at least get a nice even coat. If they do the wire brushing option, that ensures that they take it down to the bare metal and it'd be a nice, beautiful hydrant.
What's the cost of the
So I'm sorry, the
pressure washer version?
So the wire brush system, the total cost will be $12,410. But if we just do the pressure wash version, that'll be $5,037. And that'll be for all fire hydrants in the district, 146 hydrants.
Do you have an idea how much longer the paint would last, or if we did one version versus the other, before we'd have to come back and touch it up again and redo it again?
You might get an extra 2 or 3 years if you wire brush it versus pressure washing it. The main difference that I've seen between those two methods is actually the final product, how it looks. Because if you've had years of people coming and just pressure washing and getting the flaky paint off and then repainting it, it'll be a little uneven. You'll be able to see the caked on paint, if that makes sense. Wire brushing it will make it look like a brand new fire hydrant. But as far as longevity goes, I would say it is more of a maybe 2 to 3 year max difference.
You know what we did last time and when we did it?
So they actually did not offer this exact method. It was Industrial Solutions, but what they did was kind of like a sandblasting of it.
How long was it?
That was back in 2019.
6 years.
6 years, yes, sir.
What happens to the paint that's flaked off? Is it other yards or sewer?
They would, of course, clean off the paint that's flaked off, right? I mean, clean up the...
Of course, yeah. That's all.
Right.
That's all part of it. Yes. They set things up in the street, block the storm drains off. Yes.
Okay.
I don't know, something like this, like that weir, no one's ever gonna see that. We're not gonna see it, nobody's gonna see it, but everybody sees fire hydrants, so I think we should do it right.
I didn't really, until we talked about it recently, I didn't really notice how bad some of them looked. I started looking at them, they're just
Yeah.
rusted and they don't look good.
One of the few things residents can see visually, so I'd go ahead and, difference between 18 and 5, I just get it right. We probably,
Right, get
you're
some
telling me
things to
6
be
years,
used.
that's not very much.
Yeah.
I haven't looked that closely, so I'll defer to your judgment on
Yeah,
that.
I noticed a few of them, they don't look that great.
Did we have a preference on the color? I think last time we decide on the forest green and the white, right? Is that what we still want to do, or do we still want some time to consider
It's
that?
blue and white, right?
Or blue and white.
blue.
You
Most
want
of
to do
them are
that?
blue and white.
The blue and
Yeah,
white. I remember we talked about maybe
Y'all
doing
did. I think
the
y'all talked
color
about
coded
changing it to
bonnets.
Yeah, talked about like a forest green.
Forest
kind of,
green. Okay.
Green color. I don't know, is that a solid green? You said something about
Wait,
white.
yeah, we'll do the bonnet and the caps white, and
Okay.
then the body of the hydrant forest green. If you want, I could send y'all some pictures of different options
I've
too.
been talking the blue or the white version of that, or sorry, the blue or the green body and then the white.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
pretty much.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
What
Use
green
your-
trails? Might go with
I think the green looks nice and sharp. Okay, green and white, you got it.
Tough debater.
Sorry guys, just making a note of that. I'm a slow writer. Okay, and turn to the very next page. That is the 2024 Drinking Water Quality Report, otherwise known as the Consumer Confidence Report. So the very first page, there's one change here. They did add the lead service line inventory information here on the PCR. So now that everyone that gets a copy of this, which should be every resident, can see that, hey, 345 does not have any lead or copper. Turn to the next page, y'all. That's all of our results. Everything is in compliance. Nothing stands out to me at all. Y'all, if you approve this today, as always, we'll go ahead and put the hyperlink on a copy of your water bill. That way all the residents get it. They can go ahead and plug that link into their smartphone or computer, and it takes them straight to the 2024 Consumer Confidence Report. Do we have any questions?
So board, since you guys have a website, this also has to be posted on the website. So the motion you'll take will be authorize your operator to provide that direct URL link on your water bill, which will take them directly to the Infomark website, but then also authorize them to submit to your website provider to post it. This has to go out to customers prior to July 1st. So we have a designated person in our office who looks at all of these for all operators. It's a TCEQ promulgated form, so they make sure that the legal requirements are being met by the operators. So when you approve it, it'll be subject to SPH review of the legal requirements set forth by the TCEQ. Which is what y'all do every year. Luckily, I'm not the one who has to review this.
All right.
All right. Chad, real quick on those 3 excursions.
Yes, ma'am.
Wastewater treatment plant, I'm assuming y'all notified the TCEQ.
Yes, absolutely.
Just wanted to make
Yes,
note
ma'am.
of that in a minute.
Sure, of course.
I did have a question on the rags that
Yes.
blocked that up that caused that.
Mhm.
Was that an unusual event, or was that
So
happens on a regular basis? Or?
Rags in the sewer treatment system are definitely not a rare occurrence. The return being stopped up, yes, that's not something that happens every day. There was a large influx of rags. It could have been a sewer stoppage that may have cleared on its own. Sometimes there's a blockage that clears along, then we'll get a large influx of solids, usually grease, fats, oils, then usually like a big ball of rags, right? Sometimes they also accumulate in the lift station as well. They'll accumulate at the bottom of the lift station, and then there will be certain occasions where the lift station will start to pump lower. So if you recall last month, I mentioned that we had an issue with one of the lift pumps. It was the VFD. It controls the lift pump, how much it pumps. Pretty much it keeps it pumping at a steady rate. That wasn't working, so the pumps were pumping the level down really low and letting it get back high. So that caused extra rags to get into the plant. That's what caused that return line to kind of clog up. So the rags, that's an issue that we are constantly facing. My back was a lot stronger when I was an operator because I was always, you use a garden rake to get them out of the sewer plant. So
Is
that's it.
there, so you think this is kind of a one-off unusual event? Where I'm kind of going is there any updated process modification or something that needs to be put in place or y'all are thinking about or?
So what we do to prevent that, Aaron, is we do top and bottom clean of the on-site lift station. So I'll check your contract. I believe we do that quarterly. Quarterly is what we recommend, but we did notice that your specific system seems to have a higher level of those fats, oils, and the rags. So we could talk about maybe increasing the frequency of those preventative cleanings. I could bring some pricing to the next meeting if you'd like to do that. But besides that, we should, like I said, I need to look at your contract. Typically, we do it quarterly. It could be semi-annually, though. But we could talk about doing that every 2 months, or really what we're doing right now, Aaron, is just quarterly and then on an as-needed basis. So if we see that we do it on January, and then we're due back to come in May, but in March, it's still looking pretty rough. We'll call somebody out to take care
Is
of it.
there maybe kind of a hybrid approach that says you don't, maybe we don't clean it more frequently, but we check it
Sure,
more
yeah.
frequently?
And
So
yeah.
just take a peek, and then
Mm-hmm.
if we need to clean it more frequently, then we can, or one-off, we can do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What about the mechanical drum screen? Shouldn't that help?
The mechanical drum screen will help immensely. Right now, you just have a regular mechanical or a regular bar screen that we are manually cleaning. So with a actual automated bar screen, it will completely change the game. What you have in there right now is probably they're about this thick, about maybe 12 of these in a series. That's what's holding the floodgates back, so to speak.
Okay.
Hypodermic needles, soda cans, orange peels, all kinds of, anything that goes down the drain that's all that's stopping it. So a lot of times rags, when it gets in the water, right, it can be free form, it can pass freely through that grating very easily, so.
This
yeah.
is stuff that's, the entry point is somebody's drain or the commode, but it's not stormwater. So-
That's correct. It's not stormwater, but there are instances of infiltration or intrusion, right? So sometimes you may have a sanitary main that has a hole at the top. Water finds its way in there, right? Or usually what's more common is somebody may have a sewer clean out, their sewer line at their house, right? Could be missing a cap. So trash can find its way in there. Or it could just be somebody flush it down the toilet. You'd be surprised what people flush down the toilet, honestly.
Like the biggest culprit is those Swiffer sheets.
Yeah.
Swiffer sheets are known to flush. They say flushable, so people flush them, but they're about the worst thing
Yeah.
to put down there because they're so fibrous. You should throw them in the trash.
That's the kind of thing we should put a banner across our
We
website.
have a lot of districts that, especially around the holidays, they have like articles that put on their website, no fats, oil, and grease, remind people not to throw that down the sink or whatever it is. And some say like no wipes and pipes, and then they have gross pictures of what happens, and like this can cost your district however much money to get that cleaned out. So you guys certainly can consider that.
I like that. Around Thanksgiving, people frying turkeys,
Yep.
I could see them.
Not all that peanut oil, some just put it right down the drain,
Yeah,
it should
we should-
not.
we should-
That ruins your.
Yeah. I was looking at the website today. We could definitely add some things on there to make it more eye-catching. We have a bunch of canned messages and graphics and things like Kate was mentioning. Things about fats, oil, and grease, what not to put down the drain. We even have some really graphic photos of like fatbergs and giant rags being pulled out of the sewer main if you really want to gross people out. But I could definitely bring some of that to the next meeting, or I can email you all after the meeting with some of that information. Absolutely.
I'd say just if you want to work with Aaron, just
Yeah.
decide.
Yeah, I'll get with you, Aaron.
Put that on.
Yeah, I'll send some stuff to
Our
you.
last post on there was December's 2024 update. Here's all the stuff we
I was
did.
thinking we probably can post something about that, and maybe post something about the water quality report as well.
That goes on your website.
I'm thinking of the announcement.
Oh, got it,
Section, part in addition to where we would post it. Just maybe not on the same post, but we can queue up maybe a couple of posts. If that's something I want to do.
And when might the hydrant work begin?
I'm sorry?
When might the hydrant work start?
Well, when might the hydrant work start? The painting or the repairs?
Well, I guess,
Both.
I was just trying to relate it to a public announcement.
I
that, hey,
do.
By the way, our hydrants might be getting
Understood. Gotcha. Yeah, the hydrants they'll start painting those right away as soon as I let them know. But the repairs, I need to check on when they're scheduled. This is the time of the year that they get all of the surveys and repairs done, so they're a little bit backed up. But 20 hydrants should not take very long. Yeah, it's definitely.
thought we were doing all the hydrants.
No, I was talking about the repairs from the survey.
I'm talking about the wire brush.
The painting, yes, sir. Yeah, we are doing all hydrants on the painting. That's
So that
correct.
can start inside the next 30 days?
That's correct.
Okay, so maybe, I don't know if it's something we want to put on there pretty soon.
Yeah.
It'd be good next month, so like a picture of a gleaming new hydrant, just say, hey, we just did it.
Or maybe like a wet
Wet
paint, don't touch.
Is there a way to schedule
Mason Creek.
painting the ones that are to be repaired last?
Oh yeah. Well, that's another logistical thing too. I want to make sure that they don't go and repair hydrants that just got painted or vice versa. So, but the repairs are very minor. But that's something that just happened in another district, and we're good about. Usually, these type of things happen around the same time. So we make sure that we don't go and mess up the paint.
So really three kind of messages we're talking about is painting the hydrants, and then kind of the watch what you put down your toilet and sink message, and then the water quality report, just letting people know that it's available.
Oh, it won't be available yet, so.
Or whenever. Yeah, we'll have to figure out the timing of these, not all at once, so we can kind of keep with them, whatever. So the water quality, when do you think that would be an appropriate time to, when would that be finalized, approved, and out there?
It has to go out to all residents by July 1st, so
Mhm.
typically it goes out with your April water, no.
June.
June water bills.
I was like, whoa, I'm behind.
Yeah, so I
It-
don't know, that just kind of depends on.
June 6th or 7th, I can give you a call, Aaron, around that time, and we'll make sure that bill message goes out.
So kind of
Or I mean the
June,
district.
July. It doesn't need to be like exactly when it goes out,
Mhm.
but sometime in that sort of time frame. If people haven't seen it already,
Yeah.
and they go to our website, they'll see that it's up there. But it's going to be in their bill as well.
Well, it'll be a direct URL link,
Yeah.
if you guys
The
want to copy
URL
in
is
your
a
bill.
URL link is going to be to our website,
No,
Be to-
it goes to your operator's website.
operator's website. Okay.
And if you want, Aaron, I can include a bill message. We'll include a bill message when the CCRs go out that says, hey, look up there, there's the link, for the CCR. I can include something else about checking out the district website as well, if you'd like. I do believe that we have like a permanent message on there about checking out the district website.
You want to just call me in the next few days, or let's just kind of go through all
Okay.
these messages, and maybe the rags and the oils. That message we kind of say for whenever we think kind of the high volume of those activities are going to occur,
Mhm, okay.
and then we can kind of hit it maybe right before that.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? All right, so there'll be 3 action items. It's the authorize that repaired the weir at the wastewater treatment plant in an amount not to exceed $18,000, subject to Mike's approval. The proposal from Industrial Solutions to wire brush and paint the fire hydrants green and white in an estimated amount of $12,400. And then approve the consumer confidence report subject to SPH review with legal requirements, and then authorize your operator to send the final consumer confidence report to the website provided for posting and the direct URL on the water bill.
Second.
All in favor?
Alright. And one thing out, I don't know if we need a motion, but J talks about discussion regarding bifurcation of District Water Line and West Park. Since we've kind of shifted past that, we want to amend that agenda item for the future to read something general emergency interconnect discussion or something like that.
I can certainly do that. I left it on just in case we ever needed to talk about it more. We had it on that, but I can
If you have a
certainly
good
change
reason.
that. No, I can certainly,
That's fine.
I can amend that language as a problem.
I just had a couple follow-up things. So if we stick to the quarterly schedule,
Mhm.
you're just gonna instruct your guys to go maybe just peek in there once a month or something, just to see.
Absolutely. We check it every single day. The issue was that it was rags at the very bottom of the lift station.
Didn't see it.
And when that lift pump VFD went down and the parameters, right, the lift pumps weren't pumping to the same depth. They're set to not pump that low because we know that there's a lot of junk that just settles to the bottom of the tank. So
Yeah.
that is something that we check on a regular basis, but it's hard to plan for those sort of
Gotcha.
failures of
Okay.
that equipment.
And you had mentioned something about a different process. Y'all both referred to a different process.
The bar
Mechanical drum
screen.
Yeah.
So one of the high dollar line items that's coming in our CIP project that is in
Yes.
Bob's plans, I don't know, what's it, $400,000 drum screen or something like
Right.
that. is literally a big drum and the water comes in and it is way more effective than a screen,
Mhm.
or a grid pattern rebar trying to catch the
So-
rag. So that in conjunction with them looking a little closer or more frequently ought to help
Be-
significantly.
Yeah, almost a non, I don't want to say a non-issue because it'll always be an issue to an extent, but we are going from a giant hole pretty much to a very, very fine screen. I can't state enough how much a difference it's going to make to your plant, having that screen in there.
Yeah, almost every district that has the money is going to that.
Yes.
Less
absolutely.
wear, I
Way more
imagine
effective.
that also leads to less wear and tear on your plant
Yeah.
and more longevity for your plant, right?
Mhm. That's correct. The rags, they will accumulate, they will settle down at the bottom of the tank, they will start to block things, disrupt the process. They also are known to break pipes. They can accelerate deterioration of pipes. They will wrap around airlines, things like that. It creates pretty much a landmass for more organisms to multiply there and just accelerate. I mean, it's already a corrosive environment, but then you're making
Yeah.
it worse by adding more corrosive things on top of it.
Gotcha, okay.
So once that's installed, I think the problem will be more or less fixed at the plant, and then, but you'll still have, I think we want to keep up with the Swiffer messages and the no rags
Yeah.
down the drain, because then we'll just have the two isolated problems at the two lift stations.
Yep.
They can still get ragged up around the impellers there.
Do you have any messages you've used or seen in the past around no Swiffers and the?
Oh, yeah,
racks and
yeah,
all
they've got,
that?
Oh, yeah.
they've got a library.
You have all that
full of them.
stuff?
That's correct, yeah. I'll send you some stuff this
Okay.
afternoon.
All right, thank you.
Greatest pictures ever.
Yeah.
Graphic.
All right, anything else? Okay, all right, well, we already covered agenda item 12. Agenda item 13, the Operation Advisory Committee relative to joint wastewater treatment plant. Mike, do you have an update?
Nothing new. We are meeting in 3 weeks. So I'll have more to report next time we meet as a board. But Barry, Juan, and I are meeting at our offices to discuss the updates on plants. So nothing new today.
Great. All right, agenda item 14, this is the amended and restated third amendment to your water supply contract with Harris County 346 in connection with the second water law. That is still in process, so we'll have you guys defer that. Agenda item 15 is Green Trails Monthly Report. We do have the April statistics for you all, and then the April activity report from the constable's office. As you guys know, there's no action items, but if you have any questions with respect to that report, just let us know. Agenda item 16, district website, mass communication messaging matters. I will put that y'all concurred to include some announcements about fats, oil, and grease, that type of stuff on the website. Is there anything else we need to talk about with respect to the website?
No, just those those kind of three categories of announcements that we discussed, the water quality report, when it's approved, the no rags, oils, and then painting hydrants.
Okay. All right, agenda item 17 is the status of the installation of the hike and bike underpass at Fry Road by the Below Fork Drainage District. I have no update for you all with respect to that. Agenda item 18, I do have two items. You all have the April 2025 Stormwater Solutions report for you all. We get these pretty much infrequently. I know that Stormwater Solutions has come, I think, twice in the last 2 years to get you guys to clean out that OPT unit. They sent us this report, so I wanted to present it to you all. There's no action items for your consideration. It just talks about rainfall data and that type of stuff that they see. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you want a copy of it, just let me know. And then we had a request from Mike about the district's participation in the Association of Water Board Directors. So Mike, I don't know if you want to cover that if you want me to.
I've got a few bullet points, and I'm not too strongly favoring one way or the other. Just wanted to bring to you guys' attention. Do you guys know much about AWBD or nothing? Okay, so it's the industry, what would you call it, a professional society almost, industry of water board directors, whose purpose, let's see, copy and paste. Purpose, AWBD, is to communicate and educate directors mainly about the issues affecting water industry in Texas through the following: mid, winter, and annual conference. There's two big conferences a year. Spring and fall seminars, Director 101 and 201 workshops, monthly parks webinars, and then there's some quarterly industry webinars. Really, all it is, it's geared towards directors learning about stuff like we talk about in these meetings. And so, for example, if you went to one of these seminars, you would have, let's just say there's 8 quote-unquote classes given in the morning, and you could pick 4 of them. And then you have lunch, and then the same thing. You're picking 4 out of 8 or 6 out of 8 to go to in the afternoon. Things that are of interest to you. There might be one on what mass communications and what other, you're hearing what other districts are doing.
Yeah.
And you'll find those questions. In a nutshell, there are over 730 districts are members in Texas. Firms like Bob's Firm and Infomark are members. The attendance is in the 2,000 person range at each conference. Cost this district a year membership is only $750, and then let's say one director went. That's in the $500 range to go for. It's really a 2-day thing, but you spend 2 nights. It's kind of like 3. You're there for 2.5 days, and there's a social aspect. There's networking. That's basically it in a nutshell. So if 2 directors here went, that would be $1,000. It would cost $1,750. So call it somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 a year if we were to participate. I've been going to them for 20 years. I'm a big fan, but it's really only for if you guys, the other directors, have any interest. And I wanted to let you know it exists. It's out there, and it's some really cool stuff. There's a heavy emphasis on chloramines conversions, and they have some that get into the chemistry of it. And again, what are other districts doing, that kind of stuff. So,
Is there any online or remote learning type materials that are independent of having to go to the conferences?
I think so.
Yes.
You guys have
Yeah,
done it?
everything
Yeah.
now is pretty much recorded, and then a couple days after you can watch it online. You will get per diem, so if you do go for the 3 days or the conference, you'll get paid per diems for that. That is in your ethics policy, I believe. You can only get reimbursed for the number of days the conference is, so you can't spend, not that you would, but a whole week watching the stuff and ask for 7 per diems. It's limited to those number of days, no matter how long it takes you to watch it. And then you would get reimbursed for hotel or mileage and that type of stuff if you want as well. A lot of our districts participate. Schwartz Page, some of our attorneys will give presentations. We will give one along with attorneys at another law firm about the legislative update at the summer conference this year.
Where
so
are the
there are,
conferences typically held?
They're all in Texas. So this summer is in San Antonio. This past winter was in Austin.
Next several.
Sometimes winter ones are in Galveston or Corpus Christi. I don't know, is there one in Dallas too? Maybe a summer one's.
It's rotational.
It's rotational.
Here's the next several years here.
I think it'd be worthwhile, particularly if we can use look at stuff offline.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be very expensive. So,
We can make a decision next time. I just wanted to
Yeah.
present the information from us.
I would think it's interesting. Yeah, maybe that's, can we get it on, maybe get it back on the agenda next time and.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe get, okay. Yeah, thanks, Mike. for bringing that
Yes.
forward.
I had no
Good
idea that
organization.
existed.
Thank you.
All right, we will include that on next month's agenda. All right, that was it. That was all I have for the attorney's report. No need to go into closed session. Future agenda items, board, is there anything anyone needs to include on the future agenda? All right, just need a motion to adjourn.
Motion? Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Wow.